Welcome in to Texans today. I'm your host, Jeremy Chuggs. On today's show, the real reason why this man right here, Azeez Al-Shaair, is going to be suspended for the next 3 games for your Houston Texans. There's going to be a lot of narratives out there. There's going to be a lot of people telling you why Azeez Al-Shaair is suspended 3 games and why it was such a hefty penalty from the NFL. But I have the real reason why Azeez Al-Shaair is going to be sitting out for the next 3 games. But before we get into all that, one-word reaction to the NFL upholding that 3-game suspension for Azeez Al-Shaair. Let me know down in the comments section. I'll give you my answer in just a moment. But before I do, scroll on down and let your voice be heard. My one word is unjust. Unjust, because I think I've stated multiple times the NFL, they're trying to make an example out of Azeez Al-Shaair, partly because of him hitting a quarterback, but also because there's a lot of public pressure, a lot of clips going on around of Azeez Al-Shaair, and public perception does in fact shape what the NFL is going to do moving forward. The public perception is people think the reason why Azeez Al-Shaair got the 3-game suspension is because it was a late hit on a quarterback. And that's partly the reason why. But when you really peel back the curtain, when you really look at this whole situation, take a step back. In reality, the suspension being 3 games has more to do actually with what happened after the play than the actual hit itself. If you don't want to believe me, listen to this excerpt from John Runyan on the Azeez Al-Shaair hit and why he was suspended. After the illegal hit, you proceeded to engage in a brawl, which you escalated when you pulled an opponent down to the ground by his face mask. After the referee announced that you were disqualified for the hit and your unsportsmanlike acts, you removed your helmet and re-engaged with your opponent while walking down and across the field. And, people have claimed, it's because of his past. He has a dirty past of hitting quarterbacks and getting into fights and extracurriculars with opposing teams, which in reality isn't the case. How many unsportsmanlike penalties has Azeez Al-Shaair had in his career? I'll give you a clue. It's not that many. So saying throughout his entire NFL career, he's had all of these awful instances is just a bunch of baloney. He's had 2 this season. And these are the main 2 that everybody points to. The Chicago Bears, this situation on the sidelines after a hit on Caleb Williams, and then this past week up against the Jacksonville Jaguars, the situation that occurred after the Trevor Lawrence hit. Both those situations have something very, very particular in common with each other. And before I give it away, before I let you know my thoughts on both these situations and his heinous past in the NFL, I want to ask you a little game. What do those 2 fights have in common? The hit against the Bears and the hit against the Jags. What do those 2 fights have in common? Let me know your thoughts. Before I give you my answer, got to tell you about the sponsor of today's program, and that is PrizePicks, America's #1 daily fantasy sports app out there. And hey, basketball is in full flow. The Texans might be off this week, but that doesn't mean you have to be. Get in on the daily action with the #1 daily fantasy sports app out there in PrizePicks and turn your football or basketball knowledge into some cold, hard cash. PrizePicks is the easiest and most exciting way to play daily fantasy sports with over 5 million active members. If you're looking for promotions, they have every single week Taco Tuesday discounts where they lower player projections up to 25%. And as I'm looking right now, hey, the Rockets playing the Warriors, maybe a little Alperen Şengün action. I always take the more on his points and rebounds combined. Also, Jalen Green, 3-pointers made, 4.5. Give me the more on that as well. You can use those. You can go against them. Just do it all on PrizePicks. Download the PrizePicks app today and use code CLNS and get $50 instantly when you play $5. That's code CLNS on PrizePicks to get $50 instantly when you play $5. You don't even need to win to receive the $50 bonus. It is guaranteed. So what's stopping you from getting started today with PrizePicks? Run your game. So both of these fights for Azeez Al-Shaair, both of these happened on the opposing team's sideline, and players who weren't even involved in the play, players who were on the sideline, players who had nothing to do with the actual play on the field, got involved. They circled him, they attacked him, they went after him in both of these instances. So the real question is, in this instance up against the Chicago Bears, where obviously, I mean, look at this picture right here, right? You have got 12, like what? I'm counting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 if you're counting Cole Kmet back there. 7 Bears surrounding him. And let's look at the next picture. You got Azeez Al-Shaair. Yes, he's bringing somebody down, but you have all of these guys around him as well. And what happened right before he pulled somebody down by their face mask? Oh yeah, he absolutely got skull-effed into the ground by Evan Ingram on his backside. You want to talk about illegal hits? You want to talk about hitting somebody, a defenseless player? Yeah, Azeez Al-Shaair's on his knees, and he absolutely got plummeted into the ground. And what happened right after that? I showed you 6 Chicago Bears around Azeez Al-Shaair. Well, how many white jerseys do you see in this scrum right here around Azeez Al-Shaair? Let's be honest, not a ton. It looks like it's about 40 against 1. And then you're saying, oh, Azeez Al-Shaair, he's ripping his helmet off. He's doing all this. Well, what is this picture? Isn't that Jags guard Brandon Sheriff doing the exact same thing that you are dogging Azeez Al-Shaair for, taking his helmet off and instigating? So if you're going to say all this was on Azeez Al-Shaair, I'm calling straight up BS. That is a bunch of bullshit. John Runyan, Roger Goodell, the NFL. Because if you're actually looking at player safety, if you're actually looking into the health and wellness of these guys, then you got to look into that problem of when plays happen on the opposing team's sidelines, how are we protecting that player? Even if it was a late hit. I mean, which in this case, with Trevor Lawrence, late hit, yes, I'll give you that. It wasn't the cleanest of hits by Azeez Al-Shaair, but does that just give the opposing team carte blanche? Does that give them free reign to do whatever they want? Everybody clear the sideline. Let's all go attack Azeez Al-Shaair, and it's okay with the NFL? That's what you're saying with this punishment to Azeez Al-Shaair. That's what you're saying with this note to Azeez Al-Shaair. Mr. John Runyan, I'll kick it back to you. This is what he said. Your lack of sportsmanship and respect for the game of football and all those who play, coach, and enjoy watching it is troubling and does not reflect the core values of the NFL. Your continued disregard for NFL playing rules puts the health and safety of both you and your opponents in jeopardy. Okay, Mr. John Runyan. If you're talking about everybody's health and safety, if you want to discuss player safety, then let's talk about a situation where it's 1v12 and a player's safety is in jeopardy while they're literally getting jumped on national television. I get the hit wasn't what the NFL hierarchy, what NFL teams, coaches, players want. Yes, we want to get that hit out of the game. But is this what we want? Do we want an entire sideline going after attacking somebody and feeling like they're, having to actually protect themselves and use, self-defense against all these guys? Yes, did Azeez Al-Shaair maybe escalate it a little bit? Of course he did. But how do you not escalate it when you literally have 20 guys surrounding you trying to jump you on national television? I mean, tell me that, John Runyan. Tell me that, Roger Goodell. What would you do in that instance? John Runyan, I wouldn't have to tell you about a dirty hit, a late hit, and having to put you in those shoes because, hell, we all saw the clip of you absolutely spearing somebody in the face while you were playing for the Philadelphia Eagles. So you know all about dirty hits. So what if after you made that hit, the entire sideline came in running after you, trying to beat you up? Would you just be like, oh, you know what? I respect the game too much. I'm going to keep my helmet on, and I'm just going to not fight anybody. No, you're going to protect yourself. You're going to make sure that you're okay. But you didn't do that in this instance, NFL, Roger Goodell, John Runyan. You said it's okay if you make a dirty hit for the opposing sideline to go out there and wail on you. So I want that same energy. I want that same thing. If somebody does a hit against the Texans, if something happens, all of our players and coaching staff better be allowed to run on the field and absolutely beat the shit out of whoever just did that. Because that's what you're saying. That's what you're saying, John Runyan, with all this bull crap going against Azeez Al-Shaair, going against his character, going against who he is as a man and saying that he doesn't have any respect for this league, respect for anybody that's in it, that is a bunch of BS, and you know it. And the funny thing is, this might have backfired on the NFL. This might have backfired on everybody wishing on the Texans' downfall, because I told y'all before the suspension was even laid out, this is going to unite the locker room. And what did that exactly do? You see all of his teammates down on one of his posts that he put on Instagram saying, we're right behind you, Cap. 10 toes behind you. We got you covered. Don't worry. We have your back. Nick Caserio in that press conference laid it out there, said it was BS, said it was unfair, and said the NFL is punishing Azeez Al-Shaair unfairly in this instance. And I tend to agree, and all of his players, all of his teammates, this whole locker room has his back. So the NFL, everybody else out there, everybody wishing on Houston's downfall, I'll tell you this, watch out, because they're coming. That's all I have for you on today's show. Let me know. Do you agree? Do you disagree with my takes? Go down, hit me up on Twitter at Jeremy Chuggs. And as always, make sure you hit that sub button for daily Texans videos all year long. I got you covered. Doesn't matter. In season, playoffs, off season, no matter what's going on around the Houston Texans, I got you covered here on Texans Today.